what's up? Welcome, one and all, new and returning. Okay, now, okay. I'm not trying to hear it from you Ariana Glazers pitching an absolute toddler fit about how I'm body shaming Ariana when I say we need to talk about the Ariana Grande situation. True, yes, her body is connected to the situation and just one piece of the puzzle to a bigger picture of a social epidemic that has plagued the self-image and self-esteem of generations since the dawn of commercial advertising. The main media tasking celebrities and public figures with the job of setting the standard for what is attractive versus not attractive. For an entire culture where the majority of people don't live the lifestyles of the rich and famous. And if you've been scrolling around for any amount of time on social media lately, then you've come across a thread of conversation or two where Ariana Grande's ultra-thin body had been up for discussion. I do think that just because none of us are insiders and know for sure what's going on with her medically, mentally, or emotionally, that the speculation behind the why of her thinness is a bit unnecessary and not worth concentrating on. But anyone with two pair of working eyes can see that it's not natural or attained by anything that is beneficial or safe in any form or capacity. But I do think that conversations surrounding her appearance and the concerns that are being vocalized about it is very productive on a collective subconscious level about how toxic and unrealistic celebrities and public figures are being presented in the media, and how important it is we continue to deconstruct what we've been conditioned to think about our own bodies if it doesn't resemble theirs. The whole thing happening with Ariana Grande is bigger than her, and it's worth discussing because with where we're heading right now, with skinny bodies being promoted to the public as the trending ideal, with the overprescription and overuse of weight loss drugs, and the presence of harmful online communities like Thinspiration and Skinny Talk that are promoting starvation and self-harm to attain a certain look that is not healthy nor sustainable. So if you're vibing thus far with what I've been saying, then stick around as we break down the history of the criticisms of women's bodies in the media, how we've been conditioned to hate our body regardless of whether you fit the so-called ideal or not, and what we need to do to deconstruct these toxic notions that have been ingrained in our brains from a young age, that if you don't look like X celebrity or influencer, then you're less of a person. So if you're on board, let's get popping up in this shit. Now, I'm feeling compelled to put an obvious disclaimer here that when I discuss topics adjacent to things concerning mental or bodily health, just keep in mind that I'm not a medical doctor or a mental health professional, and nothing I say about these things should be regarded as an expert opinion by any means. I'm just repeating information I've come across from doing research for this video's content, and the rest are just my personal opinions and theories only. Please feel free to continue doing your own research in your own time about everything that's being discussed in this video if you think I've missed something, or you feel I didn't go into enough detail about something you wanted more information on. And of course, I absolutely implore you, no, demand you consult an actual professional if you are suffering from any negative body self-perception that is affecting your mental and or physical health. So now that I'm no longer liable for what you choose to do with the information being presented to you today, let's move on and get into the best starting point of this discussion, which is the moral divide currently going on with the discourse surrounding Ariana Grande's current presentation. Obviously, like with many celebrity controversies, there has been such a dramatic split reaction to Ariana's latest public appearances, regardless of whether or not they identify themselves as Ariana fans or not. There's one camp proclaiming her body, her choice, her body is nobody's business and people don't need to be talking shit. And then the other camp is all, well, it's obvious by the looks of her body there's something wrong with her, that she might be sick with something, some sort of eating disorder, and she needs medical intervention. And both POVs, I think, have a very compelling argument, but neither of them support a healthy, balanced view between mere observation and productive criticism. You know, one side is trying too hard to be pro-Ariana and or pro-woman that it's bordering on enabling and almost supporting something that is visibly concerning and toxic to believe is natural or normal to be. And the other side is rooted in true curiosity and worry. But the amateur armchair diagnosing her with mental disorders like narcissism, borderline personality disorder, or any other mental health disorder is where it gets to be too much, I think. And the speculation does become harmful, and that's a form of sub-commentary that can be left out when witnessing noticing her most recent appearances in the public eye. It's not wrong to notice and to verbalize, hey, something is going on with this young woman. She might be in a very vulnerable position where she is in need of professional help, and I hope she gets the help that she needs if that is the case. But also to say we shouldn't be talking about something that is already a very visible poison to the perception of the people in a culture that has historically rewarded a thinner frame with dangerous habits and procedures is very ignorant and tone deaf to the current epidemic going on of people destroying their bodies and even dying just because they want to live the life of some wannabe Pilates influencer who makes their life look picture perfect on social media and thinks they will get that if they look like said wannabe Pilates influencer. I'm just saying, Ariana Grande's most recent appearances should be acting as a catalyst for an even bigger, more important conversation rather than speculating what might be going on with her personally in her personal life. And because we aren't on the inside of her life or know her personally, coming up with theories about how her current appearance came to be is pretty useless. So I think it's better to broaden the conversation about her body into a socially productive conversation that will help us collectively reflect on what we've been taught about what a healthy body is and what a healthy body is not. Let's start by discussing the history of how body ideals actually came to be toxic on a mass global scale, and how it's evolved over the decades into something that is worthy of an ongoing conversation that aims to reject everything we've been taught about what a human body is supposed to look like in order to be deemed as a conventionally attractive person. So I mentioned this in a video I did last year, The Beauty Industry Wants You to Hate Yourself, where I talk about toxic beauty standards as a whole, not just toxic standards about body types. But in that video, I mentioned that beauty ideals within themselves have been around since the dawn of civilization, and beauty standards have always been toxic. But before the 1900s, the ideas about what beauty and what beauty was distributed amongst much smaller groups of people. The people who determined what was physically attractive were the high-class individuals of specific communities and locals within a certain place. And when the 1900s came around, that's when mass media was introduced, and printed advertisements were being consumed by the general population in magazines, television, and motion pictures. Body standards then were being exposed to the masses and sent the subliminal message that purchasing a certain product or looking like a certain Hollywood star is what people, most specifically women, need to be reaching for if they want to be viewed as someone physically attractive. And when body ideals scaled up to a wider reach of potential buyers, beauty and health, corporations manufacturing these products said, "Yay, capitalism!" and seized opportunities to make women who weren't using these products feel like they will evolve into a crusty crone or vomit-inducing slob that no one will love if they don't use the products they're selling or taking the advice of what they say you should do in order to not become a crusty crone or a vomit-inducing slob. So, as far as body shapes and body composition in the context of what mass media has put out to influence consumers as something to be attained, if you want the good life, it has of course altered based on the decade. But I honestly don't think it was till the 90s, in the heroin chic era, that extreme thinness started actually being celebrated and normalized. And people were calling people like Kate Winslet fat. Yeah. You heard that right. They called this beautiful woman, who looks like a real person, fat. And don't forget when Kate Moss said this bullshit about how nothing tastes better than skinny feels. That indirectly negatively altered the self-esteem of an entire generation of women who were seeing her and her fellow models walk in on runways looking like they did, living the high life, and people wanting to copy them because they wanted to have that so-called effortless beauty too. But one of the most problematic things about the heroin chic look in particular was how it was presented as something that was easy to attain, and that if you didn't have that body, you weren't trying hard enough. That all you had to do was exercise 12 hours a day, drink Slim Fast, and eat celery sticks to curb your appetite, and projectile vomit it all up at the end of the day when the internal shame about putting actual sustenance in your body is keeping you up at night. And if you couldn't do that, then no one would love you or find you beautiful, according to Western world preferences. We just gotta be straight up and honest here. Skinnier individuals, especially skinnier girls and women, have and always will be at an advantage in society because of how ingrained it is in the minds of the society we were raised in and brought up in that has told us that their body type is the ideal and something you should attain and work toward if you want to feel valued. fuck am I holding my Burt's Bees chapstick? Whatever, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it handy. No, like literally, I'm keeping it handy. Anyway, sorry for getting off topic. The fashion industry caters to their body type, thus giving them an easier time finding clothes that they like and that fit them, to getting more compliments about their appearance even when they aren't really trying to look or be impressive. And they get more attention in the dating scene because of the beauty bias we've been conditioned with that equates skinny with desirability. And with all this, I'm talking about first impressions. Like, I know that beauty within itself is in the eye of the beholder. When I talk about skinny people in this way, I'm talking in the realm of first impressions. And yes, I know skinny people aren't immune to having body insecurities too, but it would be a lie to say that they get the same amount of judgment and critical opinions that bigger people do. So hush, or you'll be digitally thrown out the window with those pretty little buttons that say delete, comment, and block. And there's this toxic notion when it comes to thinness in the media, in the way it often tries to automatically connote it with positive personality traits or a great sense of fashion. Now, I'm not saying that all skinny people have negative traits and a bad fashion sense. That's not what I'm saying at all. Don't get it twisted. But what I am saying is this: skinny people in the media throughout history, in advertisements, commercials, and characters in film and TV, are most oftentimes portrayed as effortless, cool, and full of style, living life on easy mode. Like those women you see on the beach running out of the water and onto the shore wearing a teeny bikini. You know, she's got chiseled abs, a flat stomach, toned AF arms. But if it were a bigger woman doing the same thing, in the exact same getup, it would be presented as an awkward or funny moment because of her size and what the general population has been conditioned to think how bigger people should look, what's appropriate for them to wear, and what their character traits are by the main media. And this positivity bias towards skinny people is also apparent in what fashion choices become mainstream or what pieces of apparel become trendy. Like, a skinny famous person can wear the most basic outfit, like baggy dress pants and a button-down shirt, and all of a sudden it's an iconic fashion moment. It didn't become a trend because of what said famous person was wearing. It became a trend because it was worn by a skinny person. People herald anything a skinny person wears and call it fashion because they fit the ideal beauty standard for that culture. Like, take these pictures of Dakota Johnson, for example. Listen, her being skinny within itself is not criminal. Let's just get that straight. If these exact same outfits had been worn by a bigger person, fat-phobic people would be calling her frumpy and homey looking. So, I truly implore you to think on that next time you see one of these celebrities or influencers who probably don't have natural bodies or are just naturally skinny being praised for their good fashion sense. Of course, fashion is subjective and what people find stylish varies from person to person. The media is also the main culprit for how people tend to unfairly and inaccurately assign character traits to skinny versus bigger people and prejudge how successful or fulfilled with the way they generally paint skinny people as winners who have admirable qualities and are successful, and bigger people as losers who are disappointed by life and let themselves go by eating whatever is in front of them because they have no goals or ambitions in life. NBC's decision to call a weight loss competition show The Biggest Loser was not an accident. You don't believe me? And this shows you haven't watched the Netflix documentary about it. These myths that Western media has perpetuated about skinny people versus bigger people has influenced the general population to craft moral resumes for people they don't even know or people who don't even exist. It's also important to note that no matter where your body falls on the spectrum in terms of bodily composition or proportion, you will never win because no one is meant to look like a Kardashian or a Victoria's Secret runway model. A size 0 with a plump ass, double D's are impossible to attain by any biological or healthy means. People will always have something to say about your body as a woman, no matter if you're thickums or thinums. And society turns up the volume on their opinions when a woman is falling into one extreme or another. But there are times where you look at a person and can sense there may be a lifestyle they could be living that is detrimental to themselves because you can see it reflected in their body, which is why people are concerned about Ariana's appearance. appearance, and why they're calling her skeletal or skin and bones. If you look back at old pictures of Ariana, you can tell that she is, yes, indeed, a smaller proportioned person. Homegirl has the epitome of an ectomorph body type. But there's a difference between naturally skinny versus malnourished or sick. Regardless of what camp you're in about the discourse surrounding her body, the fact that people are even just talking about it is good. Oh my god, let me explain. Again, with the patience being a virtue thing. People have been comparing what they see when they look at photos and videos of Ariana currently to celebrities in the past who have been accused by the media of being too skinny or alluded to having some form of disordered eating. Most notably Karen Carpenter, who actually died from the negative long-term health consequences of anorexia. And it's a productive conversation people are having right now because right now we're in a post-body positivity movement. A movement that tried but failed to be more inclusive of bigger body types. But popular media today seems to be taking 20 steps back and glorifying the heroin chic starvation look again that was being pushed in the 90s. And personally, I think part of it is due to 90s trends and fashion statements making a comeback in the younger generations, and unfortunately, the heroin chic look is being included with that. And with the easy access people have these days to weight loss drugs, when they're looking for instant gratification that prioritizes a desired aesthetic, rather than gradually putting in time and effort to achieve goals that are aimed toward improving overall health, where full body transformation is a mere byproduct of incorporating healthier habits and a lifestyle that heals the body and works for it instead of against it. And with this regression of body positivity of sorts, people are finally waking up and starting to reject their social conditioning of skinny being equated with a better and healthier body, the way Western society has throughout history as long as the main media has been around. Absolutely bombards women with so-called compliments like,
"Oh my god, babe, you're so glowing. Body tea, I wish I could look like you in a bikini. Ooh, girl, have you lost weight? You look so great. Tell me your secret."
to someone they deem as skinny is so fucking harmful. Not only for the skinny girl who may be starving herself or possibly even sick in some other way, but it's a toxic way to think and talk about all women's bodies in that way. Because girls who might be bigger are getting the message that their weight is wrong, or they can't pull off a bikini just because of their size, or that they're less deserving of compliments than their skinny friend. And they may be the healthiest they've ever been in their life, but the subconscious messaging and skinny positive commentary gaslights them into believing they aren't healthy, and that thin is what they should strive for if they want to be healthy, attractive, or gain the social acceptance their skinny friends don't have to struggle for. Now, it is a valid argument to say, you don't know Ariana, how exactly do you know she's not suffering or has an eating disorder? I don't. I just know that what I see when I open threads or wherever I'm exposed to images of celebrities, and I see a recent picture of Ariana, that it does not represent a reality where a body like that is attainable or a good example of what is normal. I think people are less concerned about Ariana herself, but rather an epidemic of what an image of her is representing in an age where people are chronically online and looking to celebrities for aesthetic inspiration. I mean, of course, it's good to have a humanitarian concern for Ariana and hope she is okay, like anyone with an ounce of empathy would do. And what's even more alarming is people coming onto social media to praise. Yeah, you heard that right too. Praise how she looks. That is what we're all worried about now. And I get the main point of people saying we shouldn't be talking about women's bodies because it's none of our business. And it is true that we put way too much emphasis on women in the media and their bodies and how they look instead of their accomplishments or work or whatever they're known for and deserves acknowledgement. But there is a moral distinction between how so-and-so actress looked on the red carpet to their latest movie premiere versus so-and-so looks unhealthy. And we can have discussions about the latter without speculating the reason why they may be looking unhealthy. That's where the conversation is not productive and just borders on gossip instead of focusing on a larger societal problem about body image. It's like I said in another video I made last year about female celebrities not being our feminist queens. Celebrities and public figures can start conversations about very important social, political, or even economical issues, but they shouldn't necessarily be our role models and beacons of hope for how we should should carry ourselves in our own lives. Because we don't live like they do and we don't know them. And when it comes to Ariana Grande in particular, we don't know her life, nor should we perceive what she looks like as healthy. But it's not wrong to use her current image as an example of how we shouldn't look to celebrities to set the tone or define what a healthy body is. Because we're all smart and mature enough. I hope you are watching to know that body size and body type does not automatically determine the state of what's going on inside our bodies, and if how it's working is benefiting our health or deteriorating it. The reason these conversations about not just skinny bodies, but all bodies need to be had so we can continue deprogramming the idea that's been put in our brains early in life by a patriarchal society that says a woman's value is based on her size. And this whole discussion about the concern around unnatural looking thinness isn't just limited to Ariana Grande. We're currently seeing it with multiple celebrities like Jenna Ortega, Olivia Wilde, Charlize Theron, Kate Beckinsale. If you were a child or a teenager in the 2000s, it feels like we're being transported back to a time where 17 magazine was telling you to eat nothing but cottage cheese and tuna packets if you wanted Hilary Duff's full body transformation. Which, can I say, Hilary Duff, nor Jessica Simpson, nor any other celebrity that was accused of being fat was ever so. And whenever they lost a dramatic amount of weight and looked skin and bones, they were upheld as messiahs for getting healthy. I know I said I wanted to go back to the good old days. That shit is not the good old days. So looking forward, the solution is not to shame or praise anyone for being skinny or bigger per se, but rather it's time to confront ourselves with the collective beliefs we've been brought up with that correlate skinny with good bodily health and personal success, and to stop assigning people's, especially women's, personal value based on body type. Any body type, and quit projecting preconceived notions about character and morality, consumption habits, mental or physical health based on what is perceivable to the human eye. And compliments about weight loss should be given with caution. Instead of praising someone on a weight loss journey for attaining a certain number on a scale, we should be complimenting them on being consistent with healthy habits and sticking to a routine. And also unfollow, block, or even report any and all social media accounts that have you compulsively comparing your body to someone heavily filtered, photoshopped, and not realistic looking at all. Even if they aren't pushing weight loss advice in your face, if their content gives you the ick and has you depressed or anxious you don't look like that, then eradicate that shit from your feed and damn it to the fiery burning pits of hell where it belongs. And we also need to be conscious around children and teenagers when making comments about weight to or about other people, and the messaging that they're getting when they see celebrities or just hear other people in general being complimented about their bodies, because they're absorbing social human hierarchies based on how they see humans interact with each other and how they treat others, even if they don't have language for it yet. And when it comes to weight, or really just looks in general, we need to be mindful that we're not categorizing people as good or bad based on appearance in the presence of young impressionable minds that look to older people and adults to teach them how to develop a strong moral compass, and also ingrain in them that the bodies and physical appearances of people they see in the media is not real, healthy, or attainable for anyone. I don't know, maybe I'm just too optimistically delulu by wanting a future society that can embrace all bodies, but maybe I can be proven wrong and my vision and dream is actually within reach. When you reveal yourself in the comments as sharing the same dream or vision, I sure hope you do. If not, in the words of Mariah Carey, I would have you keep it to yourself.
I would have you keep it to yourself.
Other than that, all I have left to say is thank you much for watching. If this particular topic aligned with your values, be sure to smash that thumbs up button, as well as subscribing and joining the Emotional Support Coven. If you have no idea what I mean by Emotional Support Coven, that's just what I call my subscribers, or whoever consciously chooses to go out of their way to watch the videos of a teeny tiny channel like mine. All shapes and sizes welcome, obvi. All it takes is a simple tap of where it says subscribe under the video, like ping! And if you're one of those people who likes to compete and likes to be first, then turn on the channel notifications so you have a better chance of owning a first flex by being the first viewer to each new Friday bi-weekly video. Stay cool, stay fresh, and I'll see you next time.